car is so cool I can't even figure out how to open the door. Do you like it?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, my name's Hutch. What's your name?
Erik.
Erik, would you like to help me do the weather today?
Sure.
Woo! Well, let's go.
Now, Hutch'S Weather Kit, proudly presented by Luther Family Ford in Fargo, North Dakota. Here's Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson.
All right, everybody, thanks for joining me. I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. I got to tell you, I'm excited to be here at the showroom floor at Luther Family Ford to introduce you to Erik Wurgler. Erik, come on out here. Tell us about yourself. Where do you go to school? What grade are you in? What do you like to do?
I go to Ed Clapp Elementary, and I am in 5th grade, and I like to do math.
You like math? Okay, and anybody you want to say hi to before we get rocking and rolling with this weather?
I would like to say hi to Mrs. Lucan.
Oh, hi, Mrs. Lucan. Teachers are great, aren't they? Is that a teacher?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, very good. Why don't we talk a little bit about today's subject at hand, and we're going to focus on records and averages. So I'm going to get behind you here, and records and averages can be important to help make a forecast because knowing what's average and what the records are can really help out a great deal. So why don't you point out to people what record highs and record lows mean?
Record highs mean the warmest ever temperature.
Okay, so as recorded history, a record high is the warmest we've ever been. And a wise forecaster told Hutch, never forecast a record unless you're darn sure it's going to happen. How about record lows?
Record lows mean the coldest ever.
Very good. And these can give us a range of temperatures to start with. It's kind of like that. This is the coldest we've ever been on this date. This is the warmest we've ever been. We should fall somewhere in the middle. What are averages? Go ahead and tell everybody about them.
An average high is a typical for a day, and an average low is typical for a day.
Okay, so for this day, we can add up all of the highs and all of the lows and divide by the number of days, and boom, that's called the average. And tell us a little bit about what knowing the average does for us.
Knowing the average.
Detail average.
Detail average, warming by sun.
Okay, so for every given day, like right now in spring, we're getting a little more sunshine each day. Did you know that? And if we get more sunshine, usually that means more heating. So by knowing the average lows and average highs, we can tell on average how much we heat. And it is a good starting point for that forecast. All right, so here's the averages for today's date. Why don't you go ahead and point it out, Erik? What's those average highs and lows?
The average high is 39, and the average low would be 20.
Okay, what about the records, that big range that we should fall between today?
The record is 63, and the other record is minus 12.
Okay, so somewhere between 12 below and 63. That's a good starting point. And our averages are 39 and 20. Now, tell us a little bit more about those averages now that we know them.
The average temp warming is 19.
Right, so we usually warm by 19 over the morning low on this date. So that's important information as a forecaster. But other things can impact just how warm we get. Why don't you read off this long list of things that can impact our temperatures?
Clouds, wind,
Precipitation. It's a tough one. Just say rain or snow.
Rain or snow.
That's good. Can all
impact the expectation.
Yep. Expectation
of
Good
average.
job. That's right. So if we get rain, if we get clouds or snow, that could throw these averages off, but it's a very good starting point. And these averages that we show here, there's asterisks by those. Tell us a little bit about that. If I were to forecast for today's forecast, 39 and 20, what does that mean? Well, read that script down below there.
Average temps, exactly correct 30% of the time.
So Hutch's forecast would be spot on 30% of the time if I just went with the averages. That's not very good, but it's a great starting point, and it really can be helpful when we look at some of the other things. So a good first step in forecasting, tell everybody all about what we learned.
To begin with a look at average temps.
Good. Then number 2?
To know about historical limits.
Historical limits are those records. And then?
Check those record highs and lows.
Very good. And know your typical temperature range for this date. That's what we learned. Now let's put it to practice. Now, what's average in Texas this time of the year is different than North Dakota. But take a look at these temperatures and tell us where you think some of the most impactful cold temperatures you see on here are.
Probably the most impacted is Sudbury.
Yeah, that's right. Southern parts of Canada. And where's the heat? Where is the heat on?
It's around Texas and Oklahoma.
Very good. So they're very nice and warm there. And how about us here in the Dakotas? What do you think about that?
I think it's about in the middle of the range.
And it's almost average for our area to be at this temperature for this time of the year. So we're not far from average. So a forecast of average wouldn't have been too bad for today. Erik, you did a fantastic job. I want you to tell people where they can sign up to be a Hutch'S weather kid. But first, do you recommend it?
Yeah,
Okay, tell everybody where they can sign up at
hutchsweather.com/weatherkid.
That's right. Or you can swing on into Luther Family Forward right here on the showroom floor. Tell them Hutch sent you, and they'll point out where you can sign up to be a Hutch's Weather Kid. Give everybody at home a big wave and give me 5. You did an outstanding job. Records and averages. What do you like? Record highs or record lows?
Highs.
Yeah, me too.